Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Schmidt Lavelle.
Hey,
Heyo. My name is Tom Lavelle, and as always, I'm accompanied by Mr. Timothy Schmidt. Yay! Hooray! The crowd goes wild. We got a big episode for you this week, and we're excited to get started. But before we do that, we'd like to ask you right now, if you haven't done it, please give us that follow, that subscribe, get notifications, tell your friends, tell your family. Schmidt and Lavelle, look, guys, we're trying to grow this show. We're putting out new stuff every week. Our likes are going up, our views are going up, our fans we're growing. We are growing, and we want to get to that next level, and we need you. So if you could, please give us a subscribe, a follow on YouTube, on any podcast platform, Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, whatever you want to call it. Get on there, give us that subscribe. The more viewers we get, the more the show will grow, the more we will be able to offer you, the listener that we love. Am I right, Tim?
you are right, Tom. I think we have a couple new listeners down in Louisiana now too, Tom.
Oh, man, it's a big week, Timmy. You had a big trip, and we're going to get into all the details of that. But before we do that, let's get into some of our comments from this past week's episode. A lot of comments, and like I said, a lot of views. Our views and our interaction is going up, and it keeps going up. And I just want it to keep going. We're going to get there. We need your help. Timmy, you posted something on Facebook, and it said, nothing better than waking up in a nice glass of orange juice to get your day going, right? Isn't it something along those lines, correct?
Well, you missed out on the biggest
Okay.
part of that post because I did say that. I just said I don't usually post many thoughts on Facebook anymore. It's just really an avenue for me to share pictures of my daughters, but I had just had a nice tall glass of Tropicana orange juice, and it just hit, dude. It hit really good, and I was like, man, I haven't had one of them in a while. I forgot how good, like how thirst quenching, how refreshing it was to knock down a nice glass of orange juice in the morning. And then at the very end of that post, no pulp.
Ooh. Timmy, that drew a lot of conversation, a lot of comments on that post. People arguing for pulp, with it, against it. And Timmy, I want to say we agree on this. If you like pulp in your orange juice, you're a psycho. Am I right? I mean, it's just the texture, the whole thing. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't like pulp. I just don't like I don't it reminds me of floaties in like
Ugh.
a glass of like whatever liquid you're drinking, and all of a sudden it yeah, looks like someone took a sip of it and backwashed in your shit.
Oh, yeah, I
I
agree with
yeah,
you, Timmy. I'm not with the pulp. Like, don't get me wrong. Could I drink a glass of orange juice with pulp? Sure. I've drinking a lot of crap. But if you have the choice, the clear choice is pulp free, baby.
yeah, I don't like yeah, orange juice, no pulp, no thank you, which also led to another conversation on the plane with a friend of mine who said, "Well, what do you do with peanut butter? Do you go creamy or crunchy?" And I go creamy all day long. I don't want like any like weird bits of peanuts in my peanut butter. I go creamy. I'm always, I don't.
I'm with you. I am
Yeah,
with you 100%.
yeah. Then it led to grape or strawberry
Oh my
jam.
God. I'm a grape guy.
uh,
I like both of those. I don't mind either of those, but if I'm
so
going, I'm
yeah,
going grape.
I mean the pulp conversation really was the driver though. It really kicked up a notch. Some people, I know there's only really two options here, but some people have told me there's options out there that OJ gives some pulp, which is not as high concentrate as most pulp, right? Like, so you could have some pulp, you can have no pulp, or you can have all pulp. I mean, it's out of control, this orange juice thing. It's,
Oh
I mean,
man,
it
Tim,
hasn't
that
been.
sounds like Pulp Fiction to me.
It's terrible. I mean, this pulp conversation, it hasn't been this hot since Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. Pulp
Uh,
was a big deal back then. Orange juice was a big deal back then. Uh, but
yeah, I'm out on the pulp. No pulp for me, thank you.
yeah, I got people on their pulpits.
Ah, there we go. All right. Well, we've already hit you with two amazing puns to start the show. Let's get to some more comments. From last week's video, Mr. Heestiff, he commented, the beautiful thing about the Eagles season thus far, we still haven't played our best football yet. Attababe. And then I guess he started to get further into what we were talking about and says, Michael Jordan is overrated, and I'm taking back my Attababe. And then he comments, the slander is ridiculous. Wait, hold on. Let me get to the exact quote on that one. The slander is unreal.
is
This
this
is
about
referring to the
the
Duke
Duke? Yeah.
comments. Yes. Mr. Heathstiff, I love you and I appreciate you. And I suggested maybe last week that we get you involved in a wing night or something. I got to meet this guy, your old buddy. Great support. I love it. I love the Attababes. And it's not so much, I'd say a knock at you. I was just saying when people talked about the front run fans, Duke is always in the conversation. That's where your allegiances lie. That's fine with me, Timmy. Is Michael
I
Jordan overrated?
I got a side text from Mr. Harry Downey, aka He's Steph, and I said, "Hey, Tommy would like to meet up with you at some point," and he says, "I'm all in. I've been trying to go to Graham's whenever I'm home. I've met him once, but he was busy AF, as we all know in the business, what that stands for. He was busy AF during a Birds game, which makes sense because Tommy, when he bartends, all he does is talk on the phone. He acts like he's busy. He goes in the back. He doesn't really do much of anything. So, understandable he's stiff, but you're probably not going to be able to flag him down during his shift because he's not really relatable at all to any customers. It makes the experience at Graham's probably one of the worst in the neighborhood. So
Yeah, I'm the worst. And if you're at the bar to see me, I mean, you've made a huge mistake. Well, Mr. Heastiff, we always appreciate your comments, and we're gonna make that wing night happen sooner rather than later. So Tim, you said he's not in town. Where does he live?
he lives down in Virginia.
Oh, all right. So you can coordinate, and we will set up a date that we all get to go hang out, maybe watch a game or whatever, and we'll make it work. All right, Timmy, let's get to our last comment and what we're going to be diving right into. Like we mentioned before, big weekend for you, an LSU trip. We posted a little montage, if you will, of some of the events that were happening down there and some of the goofing around. And we got a comment from Miss DBen203. Timmy better not complain that one thing hurts or is sore. Hashtag too old. Timmy. Now, a little bit of physicality in those videos. You were picking up guys, and I do have a question about that. But what are your thoughts on this comment from Miss
Well,
DBen?
I mean, I don't think I've really complained much about any injuries. I mean, the only thing that really bothers me on a regular basis are my hands. My hands are they're old and decrepit and they're just sore all the time. Look, I put myself out there, Tom. I'm a big guy. Okay. I like throwing people around and at this particular tailgate, a lot of people seeing the Razor Ramon shirt that I was wearing was the only thing very that reflected the LSU colors. And yeah, they were like, "You're a big guy, let's do some wrestling moves." And who am I not to oblige? I get rest
Yeah.
in peace, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. I gotta get these guys up in some type of wrestling move. And
When
I've
someone asks you to put them in a razor's edge, it'd be rude to say no.
right, exactly. So and I had a crowd there. It was very similar to the crowd that a wrestler would experience at any sold out arena. I mean, there's a lot of people
Gosh.
looking for me to do this type of
Yes.
move. So I had to deliver, Tom. And you know what? I'm not sore at all. I feel pretty good about that. We actually got another that guy I put up in the Razor's Edge is now a follower of Jabroni Drive. So he's
Oh, I love it.
how
And a
about that?
great plug for Jabroni Drive. If you're listening to this and you are a fan of professional wrestling or you want to get into it, Jabroni Drive, new episodes available every week. Be sure to check us out. Thank you, everyone out there, for the comments, the interaction, the likes, the shares. We love it. Like we said earlier, we're growing and we need your help to help us grow. Tell your friends, get us a new follower, a little homework. If you say, hey, you guys watch Schmidt Lavelle? I was out this weekend. I ran into a guy and he says, oh my gosh, yes, I know you. I've seen the clips on Instagram and this and that. And so we run into people fairly often that listen to the show. We need more followers. If you don't mind, please tell someone, help follow. If you don't already subscribe, give us that follow. Thank you. All right, Timmy, let's get into this LSU trip. You've already started to talk about a little bit. I'm going to kind of break down where we were going, and you tell us everything that was going on. First of all, you left on what was it, a Friday night, Friday
Friday
day,
Friday morning. Yep.
Friday morning. How was the trip to LSU? About how long of a flight is that?
It's only a 2 hour and 50-minute flight, so not too bad. Got to the airport at a decent time. Was able to have a cocktail or two in the hangar there before the flight took off, and it was a nice flight down. And you fly right into New Orleans or New Orleans, as they say down there, and then we had to get a not well. Um, we were gonna get a carpool or whatever, and we ended up renting two vehicles, two vans, and we had 11 guys in total that go to this trip that went on this trip, which is an awesome turnout to get to a destination, right? Like typically we do this trip every year, and there's everyone piling in cars and we drive to our location, but this is the first time we were able to get on a flight. And we had the most individuals go to this trip, so that was cool.
That's awesome.
I'll,
11
I'll
guys.
tell you what, my buddy Tim, he gets the preferred rental car, which is quite the extravagant feature. I mean, you get off the plane, you get to where the car rental place, and it's literally door open. You just get right in it, the keys are in it, and then you exit the airport within, like, dude, I'm telling you, it's like a 10-minute deal. Like, that's it. No wait, no line, no waiting in line, no nothing. It was incredible. So
Wow.
if you have an opportunity to do this, it's it's worth it.
Did he say what the extra cost of the preferred is, or
I
is
don't
it
know the
included? Does he travel a lot,
He
or?
does travel a lot, but I don't know the breakdown on the cost. But I mean, it's certainly worth not sitting in. I don't know if you ever had to rent a car at an airport, Tom. It's not the most pleasant experience.
No, I have had to do that. And I mean, not that it was awful, but like there was a couple times we were trying to figure out where to go. We're in line, the person's trying to get the stuff, then we have to wait for them to go get it and this and that to get off the plane, get your stuff in the car's there waiting for you. That
Yeah,
sounds pretty
and
awesome.
so just to give you a clear picture of preferred versus non-preferred, we there was half of us that went with the preferred guy, and we got to it was an hour ride to hour and 15-minute ride to our Airbnb, which was in Baton Rouge. We got there probably about 35 minutes earlier than the people that went non-preferred, which is
Wow.
quite the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So
is, wow,
we're
that's a deal.
we're all pumped up. We're like, hey, we land in time, no delays in the flights. Everyone's excited. We got a couple beverages for the car ride, right? So it's exciting times. You land and you're really, we've been looking forward to this trip for a long time. And there's two individuals that took care of the Airbnb, and then everyone Venmos each other and whatever. And yeah, he sent out the photos of the place, and we're all excited. Like, yeah, we're about to. It's like the real world when you get to, the Airbnb. There's this place is supposed to have yeah, like 8 bedrooms, 12 beds,
Oh
uh, you know,
man, you're
four
in a mansion.
four couches you can that turn into beds too. So like we're gonna have it sleep 16, so we're gonna have plenty of space. It's gonna be great. And so we get there a half hour before the other crew gets there, and Tom, it we pull up, and I swear to God, it looked like if you ever seen the movie Friday, the stoop that they sit on, like the entire movie, it looked like something out of that, dude. It is in the most one of the more rundown like neighborhood.
Really?
Dude, we're driving.
Seedy area, you're saying?
It's a little sketchy, and we're driving and we're getting closer to our destination. It's like, oh yeah, you're 5 minutes out. And I'm expecting like the neighborhood to turn a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's probably just like a nice little pocket. Like we drive past like a Family Dollar, and then there's like all these little bodegas, and I'm like,
Liquor
"Hey, we're only
store.
we're only half mile away here." And then like right on the corner, there's a pawn shop. I'm like, all right, we're a little we're closer. We're getting a little closer here. And then we pull up to the house, and it's just like, yeah. They're like, all right, well, it's not too bad. Like, all right, we can deal with it. It's a bad neighborhood. We'll figure it out. It was on Delphine Street. So it has the classic, like, gated front door, like the black gated front door. Like, you
Right.
open it up and it has the spring. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. And yeah, we get the code to get inside. And yeah, inside is more of the same. it's
Really? I was gonna say, as long as it's clean on the inside, I'm all good.
it's run down. It looked like they just vacated the property like I don't know, the day before and took half the furniture with them. There's maps of every state in the United States on each wall. And then there's a map of like there's a there's a map of Ghana for some for some reason. And it's like, dude, this place is nuts. So then we start investigating. Like I sent you a picture of the one table that they had. It wasn't a table, Tom. It was a laundry basket with a lid on top that they used plastic ties to keep the lid tight so whatever was on top wouldn't fall through, and use that as a table for a plant. Um, there was 5 bedrooms with 5 beds in them. Now we have 11 guys, 11 men that are anywhere from 80 or from 38 to 45 on this trip, Tom. 5 beds isn't going to cut it, but there's a sanctuary, Tom, because there's supposed to be 4 pull-out couches, so we'll make do. Tom, there was one couch in the entire place, one couch with which was not a pull-out couch either. There was no TV in like the living room area. There was no TV. And here's the best part, Tom, which is crazy to me. In the back of this house, there is 2 doors, right, that are locked, and it says stay out. And there's these nice curtains, and it's like a double door, and it looks like it's another room. And I'm like, oh, there's another room back here. And I open the curtain, and there is a family living in the back of our Airbnb.
No way. How
Dude,
many, like, how
it's like
old?
it was we couldn't really tell, but like there was this small, like it was a small family. It was like the craziest setup. Like,
So they could hear you.
oh yeah, they could hear, and there's like rules like you got to keep it down and stuff like that. So like,
Who found this place?
dude, it we looked at the pictures from like before and to what we were dealing with in the current situation, and it was night and day. Like it's like, oh my God, dude, like this is crazy. Like apparently ownership changed hands like halfway through. From the time we booked it to when we actually arrived.
Right.
And dude, it was madness. So for 2 days, I guess they were Ghanans or what, the people from Ghana or something like that, living in the back of our place while we were out enjoying Baton Rouge. But like it was a panic attack as soon as everyone got there. Like we're sending text messages to the other group, like, "Hey guys, like, wait until you get here. It's going to be interesting." And it
So how
was,
did the sleep go? Did you have to share a bed, Timmy?
oh yeah. So we all drew straws to to
Oh my
see
God. And you're
who.
you're a snorer, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a snorer.
Oh man. Oh God.
Oh, half the trip for snores, Tom. It was just like,
The snorers are in one room. You guys are
yeah,
all snorers together.
dude. There was one towel exactly for each person. The bathroom that I used had it was so weird to set up. The floor was slanted like this, so the water didn't even stay into the shower. It just leaked into the bathroom.
What?
Dude, yeah, it was crazy. So it leaked into the bathroom. In that same bathroom, Tom, there was a toilet around the corner that just like hovered by itself. And then there was a window unit, air conditioning unit that was in the bathroom, which made no sense whatsoever.
What was
Um,
the temp down there? Was it hot?
it's like 60 at night, went up to
That's not bad.
75. Um, but like, look, it's clear that we got absolutely hosed on the house. And it's not, the guys that booked it's fault. It's not their fault. Like they showed the pictures. We saw the property before we went down. We just got there and it was like, yeah, we got Rochambeau. You know what I mean? It was just like, whoa.
What can you do about that? Is there any like
Well, there
d-
was half the guys were concerned about where we were staying, and they wanted to find hotel rooms that were, and it was just, dude, it's impossible. Like we're at an LSU Florida game, like it's sold out. Like there's gonna be little to nothing available. I think we were looking into like an Ocano lodge that was also like sketchy. It's like,
yeah.
what are we all gonna do? Just bunk up and I was like, you know what? Let's just make the best of the situation. And Tom, I'll tell you, as sketchy as Delphine Street was for 2 days, it wasn't the worst situation that took place during this trip, Tom.
Oh my
So
gosh. Timmy, and you know what's funny is you said to me that you felt like well rested and this and that. And it almost reminds me of my cousin Vinny when he can't sleep. Everything's like waking him up in the middle, and then the guy he throws him in content and puts him in the jail, and it's
no,
all
that's
and now
oh
he
yeah,
slept
oh
like
yeah,
a
okay,
baby. It sounds
yeah,
like
yeah,
you were like, this is great.
yeah.
I
Well,
love it.
dude, like this is what these trips are about. Is like you make memories. Look, it's not
Right.
about
You'll never forget this house.
right, but it's also like the journey that we went on. It was like we got to the house for an hour and a half. Everyone was freaking out trying to figure out like if we were actually going to stay at this place. And then at the same time, the clock was ticking because we had tickets to the LSU basketball game that night. So we didn't want to have to relocate, and miss the game or anything like that. We're like, so finally, we're just like, dude, let's just say fuck it. We'll make the most of it. So what if we have Ghanans living in the back door? You know what I mean? Maybe we'll learn something. But
Uh,
the
we're
greatest
not
part,
gonna leave this house,
yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah.
We're
And
gonna stay here.
that's the other thing is like we already shelled out money for this house. It's like I don't want to shell out another $400 for a hotel room, man. Like,
Yeah.
so the greatest part about it. So finally, like, decide to stay. We walk outside, and there's just some crackhead walking up the street, and she's old as hell, and she just starts taking her clothes off, dude. We're like, oh my god, this is not happening right now. So the decision was made that we are just going to stay there. We're like, how much time are we really going to spend in this place anyway?
All right.
So
So you guys just decide to stay in the house. You have tickets to the basketball game. How was the basketball game?
basketball game was good.
Who were
So
they
that was
playing? Florida again or?
Nicholls State. No, Nicholls State. And Nicholls State actually won the game. LSU basketball is terrible. If you know this, Tom, the women's team actually won the national championship last year. So the men's team is not really up to snuff. So I mean, probably been better off watching a women's game, but the stadium was empty. We got there. The craziest. So the basketball stadium is right next to the football stadium. And as we get there, we get on campus. As you know, Tom, it's the LSU Tigers. The Tigers are mascot.
Right. Lavelle Schmidt University mascot is Tigers.
They have a legit tiger like display on. Like I'm like there's a habitat, like a tiger habitat attached to the stadiums where there's the real life mascot tiger is just walking around in its own habitat. It's nuts, dude. I was blown away by it. I'm like, wait a second, like this is a real tiger, like right next to the stadium,
What?
and you
That'd
can
be like if
just
you go to Montana State, the Grizzlies, and next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, there's the grizzly bear right there.
yeah.
It's like,
And they have every tiger, I guess, that they've had in this habitat that's passed. They have like its picture and its like stats or how long it's survived and all that other stuff. It's really cool. But it's you get on campus and you feel like kind of like this rush, right? Like there's a different feel to it. Fortunately, LSU lost that game. It's no big deal, but we went right out after the game. And a couple of our buddies is like, yo, we were asking obviously all the patrons, like, hey, where do we go? Like, what's a cool bar to go to? And they're naming all these bars. And like this one bar is like, oh, we should go to this place. And Shaq is DJing there. And we're like, okay, like we'll go to that one. Dude, every place that we went to had a cover charge. It was like I was back in college again. It's $20 here, $10 there, $40 here. Dude, by the end of the night, we had bracelets all over our wrists. It was ridiculous. And then the other thing is like, dude, we're 41 at this point. Average age of the trip is about 41, right?
right.
And we're walking into these college bars, and it's like,
We don't fit in here.
we don't belong. We're just going to have a couple beers and like get out. And we're like trying to talk to the people that are trying to like charge us $40 for a cover. We're like, dude, we're old as fuck. Like, come on, let us in. Yeah, we'll get out of here in a couple beers and that's it. But it's just a different type of scene. Like when you get into these big time college SEC bars, right? Like they're letting anyone in, and I'm sure they're probably checking tons of IDs and stuff like that. But it's so young when you get in there. You're looking around, you're like, fuck, damn, I'm 41 now. I'm like so out of this. At one point, you felt like you could blend into the crowd, and now you're just like the old dude at the bar, and like people are looking up, and you're like, yo, what's up, dude? And you're the guy that's getting made fun of by like college kids, like a little out of your element, right, dude? It's just like, sucks. But it was a great night. We hit a couple bars. We didn't want to stay out like too late.
Yeah, you had the big day tomorrow, the next day, the Saturday, and let's get into that. So you go out for the game, you go out for basketball, you go out bar hopping, you pay a cover at 12 different bars. You get home, we all sleep in our designated areas. We wake up, we use our towel to get ready. We get out and we go to the tailgate. Timmy, first of all, these tailgates are storied. People talk about these SEC tailgates, and that's where it's at. Like the SEC is head and shoulders above the rest. How was the tailgate? Does it live up to the billing?
We wanted to start out, and it's weird. It's only an hour difference in Louisiana, right? But like, dude, that hour makes such a big difference. Like it was so hard to figure out like what time it was. Like I'm saying this like tongue in cheek because you know what time it is, but it just doesn't feel like that time. Like we got done the basketball game and it was like 8:30, but we're looking at it, we're like, shit, there's still another like just like feels like another 6 hours to like hang out and go party. Like what times the bars close and stuff like that. That was tough. But we wanted to go out for the Penn State game, the Penn State Michigan game, because some of us were Penn State fans, and we just wanted to see a good game. It's two top 10 teams, and obviously the winner would have control of the Big Ten. So we went to a local on-campus bar, which was like, it was really a cool spot. It's set up with where they have like almost like it's a theater attached where people watch the game, and it's like probably like maybe a 300 seat theater with a bar attached to the back, so you can just go in there and watch the game from there if you want, if you don't have tickets,
Wow,
which
that's
is
pretty cool.
a cool setup. And it's attached to the bar, which has like a dining area, and then on top there was just like a deck that you could just go up there and it's an open deck, and there's a bar up there too as well. So really cool spot that we watched the game at. And we watched the Penn State Michigan game there, and then we were meeting the people. We had a buddy that knew somebody down there that had a tailgate, and that invited us to this tailgate. So we watched the Penn State Michigan game with all the Louisiana folk down there. Everyone's got their LSU gear on. I was sporting my hat. I bought this Mitchell and Ness hat, local company, at the store right across the street from this bar. And they're like, "Oh, that's a nice hat. It's like Mitchell and Ness." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's like from where I live, like Philadelphia."
Yeah.
So we finish up. We ate alligator at this bar. They had alligator bites. It was really good. Tastes like chicken, a little saltier, but tried a bunch of local beers, and like everyone was just very hospitable. Like everyone was talking to us. And then we left for our tailgate. So we leave for our tailgate. We had to walk everywhere. We get to this tailgate, dude, and it's in a Winnebago. I mean, dude, this thing is huge. Like I'm talking like Greyhound size. Like, and then the guy that like hosted it, like I guess he was an owner of like one of the Piggly Wigglies down there, which is like a grocery store. It's like a Acme up here, right? So he had like a steak and a bunch of those, and like his spread was insane. Like all the beer that we could have. Ball Birds, the guy that owns Ball Birds, our buddy Joey, he shipped a ton of beer to this guy's place so he could bring it to the tailgate for us. So we were drinking local Ball Birds brewing beer
Oh,
at
that's
this
cool.
dude's tailgate, and like, with all sorts of other LSU fans. And like his tailgate was a little bit more tame than the one that you saw the pictures of us. So
Yes, there's the pictures and the videos are circulating around our Instagram. If you haven't checked them out, go see them now, Timmy. Things seem to get a little
yeah,
wild down there.
and this is when things really went off the rails, because we were at this nice, calm tailgate, nice food spread. You could tell it was a little bit more reserved. There was some music playing. And then like we just wanted to venture out and like see a couple different things, like see what the tailgate looked like. And dude, it turned into just an absolute like war zone, dude. It was we got flagged down. Actually, earlier in the day, our buddies went to the college store where that tiger was that I told you about.
Yeah.
And they saw these guys tailgating, and they invited us back to their tailgate. So their tailgate was literally a 3-minute walk from where we were set up. So we were at our tailgate originally with the Piggly Wiggly guy. And then we went over to the other tailgate, which was like, half a parking lot across the street. And these guys had like this giant LSU tour bus with like, the bull ring on the front, right? Like it was all purple and yellow and like LSU colors. They had the ropes out where they're like ringing like the fake bull mannequin thing, and like they're doing shots, and they all have the accents, and they love that we're from Philly, and they're like, come on in. They bring us into the Winnebago. Dude, they had a sink, right, with different, like a fountain soda sink that had liquor, each different type of liquor on there. They had whiskey, they had tequila, like all in this just like
Were you
little
like, hey,
fountain.
our Airbnb isn't that great. Do you mind if we
Yeah,
crash here?
dude, it was just insane. And we were just going back and forth between both tailgates, because you don't want to totally leave the guy that, you know,
Yeah. Hooked you
welcome
up.
us in and hooked us up with a spot. But it was just two different tailgates. We're doing jello shots and just like
Just partying. The
playing
one's a
music and
party, the other one's
partying.
like a nice tailgate.
Yeah, yeah, it's very subdued. It was very much the yin and the yang of tailgates, but like just in general, the tailgate just there's a lot of stuff that I'm leaving out. It's just for sake of the people that were
Yeah,
involved,
right.
but there was a lot of things that took place during that tailgate to the point where like half the roster that we went to the game with barely even made it through the game. Um,
Well, to give people an idea, Timmy, there is a video that we like you're getting roped like cattle. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
you go on a
yeah,
little trot, next thing you know, someone ropes you, you're picking people's up for razor's edges, torture racks, shots,
yeah,
liquor on the gun. I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. What
yeah.
what
You just God.
well, I was gonna say, when does this lead, like how far is this before the game?
So we probably got to the tailgate. So the game started, I think it's 7:30, and we got to the tailgate probably around 2, right after the Penn State game. So we're at a bar from 12 to 2, and then we walked over to the tailgate and then tailgated from 2 to 7.
Oh
Seven.
wow.
Because they told us, like, they were like, hey, listen, you got to get inside and see all the optics of the stadium. Like, there's a lot of they sing like these country songs, and the whole crowd gets into it. And it was a whole it was a whole scene, man. It was so much fun, man. I can't recommend it more. But yeah, the big thing is, like, hey, after we got done the tailgate and they were wrapping up the tailgate, and like we were just it was all love between us and these guys that were hosting it. That, like, dude, if you go onto their
Seem like very
tailgate,
welcoming people too. That's
they
pretty
are.
cool.
Yeah, they open arms, and it's just anybody could walk into your tailgate and drink, and they didn't give a shit. It was just like, hey, whatever you guys
Normal
want.
people or like strange like you were saying that you had some strange cats down there too.
Yeah, there were some different type of characters, but like normally when we go to a football game, that's fine. The characters I'm really talking about are the ones that we bumped into on Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
Oh boy.
But we the big thing is, like, hey, listen, after the tailgate, we had to go in the stadium, obviously, for tickets, and we get into the stadium, and it's time to go to our seats, and this is when things kind of got a little hairy. So we had to get our seats were in like the 600 level, which is like, dude, at the very top of the stadium. There is one elevator in this entire stadium, dude. One elevator, and you have to walk through like the entire stadium to get to it. So we happened to go onto the right side of the stadium where the elevator was, right? No, I'm sorry, we went to the wrong side of the stadium. So we had to walk up like, dude, it had to be 12 ramps. And then at the end, when the ramp stopped, we had to go up another like 4 flights of stairs. Dude, by the time we got up there, I was dead tired. I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. I think it was like the end of the first quarter by the time I got up to our seats. And then, like, the usher, as we get to the top, we're like, hey, these are our seats. And he goes, yeah, they're on the other side of the stadium. So we had
Oh no.
so we had to go all the way back down. And that's when we started like losing people left and right. Like, people were just so tired just from, obviously it was an all day event. And then I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna go find this elevator myself. And I just kept walking and walking, and I kept on getting deeper and deeper into the stadium to the point where I was like, dude, I don't even know where I'm at. I couldn't find an elevator. I asked an usher, like, where's the elevator? He's like, oh, you passed it. It's like, you got to go back another 10 minutes. I was like, fuck this. So finally, like, I make a left hand turn, and I look out and I see that dude, I'm on the level. I'm at the playing field level. I'm like, maybe I'll just go out and like take a picture. So I just walk out, you know, onto the field essentially, and I start taking pictures, and no one was saying
Listen
anything
to
to me. So I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna start walking towards the sideline. So I walk up the sideline, and I just stood there for the entire game, and not a single person said anything to me until, like, one time the guy was like, hey, we got to clear the section. So I was like, all right. So I cleared the section, right? And I walk into the other tunnel. on the other side of the field of the end zone. I just did the same thing, and my two other buddies were standing in the same spot, so we ended up meeting up by default, just on a whim. Like dude,
What are you
stadium
doing?
of 100,000 guys. I haven't seen this guy. We're getting no service in the stadium, and these two are standing in the same spot that I am. It was insane. So we watched the entire game there, dude. It was electric, dude. The stadium just so loud. LSU ended up getting the W. We met a bunch of cool guys like security guards talking about being policemen and just their game day experiences. Just people from all walks of life, man. It was just really cool. And dude, out of all the football games I've been to, this is probably the best one in terms of football games and tailgates that I've ever been at. If you ever have an opportunity to get to an SEC game, I would highly recommend going to LSU, staying in Baton Rouge, probably not on Delphine Street, but do a little bit more research about the property possibly before you go and pick an Airbnb. But the game day experience, the tailgating, the food, just the people in general just are so welcoming, and they just invite you to come in, try this, try that, try this. Here's some catfish, try this catfish. It's just like I've tried more food down there than I've ever tried in my life, like new things in terms of new things. So
That's
it's
awesome.
really cool spot. Check it out.
Timmy, it sounds like a great trip. You came back, you survived, and we recommend a SEC game. I'm gonna have to go check one out myself. I'm gonna see. I gotta figure out when I can and where I can and go check out an SEC game. So after the game, the next day you guys go out on Bourbon Street. Is that right?
Well, yeah, we had to drive back to New Orleans because that's where the flight was the next day, the following day. So we stayed an extra day on Sunday just to check out New Orleans. Dude, some of the guys had never done Bourbon Street. So, we took off a little early, got to our check-in, and our rooms aren't ready until like 4 o'clock. So, we got there probably around 10:30, and we wanted to get some breakfast, check out Bourbon Street. And dude, the first thing, half the roster is with us, the other half is in the other car. And the first thing that comes to mind, Tom, when I'm walking on Bourbon Street, this place is an absolute fucking shithole.
Really?
Dude, it's just awful, dude. Like
Really?
dude, there's just bums sleeping everywhere. Like we witnessed this was at 10:30 in the morning, probably about 11:30. We witnessed a bum fight where one dude knocked another guy out and stole his knee brace, like on the street where like you're supposed to be like enjoying yourself. Like there's panhandlers out there. The street smells like piss. There wasn't. Look, I've been to Bourbon Street. This was my third time, and the first two times I was younger, and those bars somewhat appealed to me a little bit. As a 41-year-old man, there was probably 3 bars on that street when I was like, I'd go in there and have a drink. The others where I was just like, dude, it's all about like shots and like their main goal is to get you hammered. Like
Annihilated.
that's what Bourbon Street is. And it's like strip clubs left and right. There's, Larry Flint's Hustler Club, and like that's on there. And they do everything they can to get you to come into their bar. There's one cool bar. It's a piano bar that's called La Frites, which is a nice, cool, like just bourbon chill bar where they play like good jazz music in there at the very end of Bourbon Street, which appealed to me a little bit. But I mean, dude, at this point in my life, me and my one buddy turned to me and we're like, yeah, I think I'm tapped out on all my New Orleans visits anymore. It's just not the place for me. I've never been to Vegas, but I could imagine like going to Vegas and enjoying like a show and stuff like that, but not doing like the party scene. That's like, like I'm kind
I
of
hear you.
done with that. I'm
Yeah.
more
I want a
like
quiet bar where I can watch the game and just chill out, have a couple drinks with my friends. That's really
yeah,
all I want.
yeah. So I mean, we did a little bit of Bourbon Street. We went to this one bar called Aaron Rose, which they have it's like the home of the cold cold brew Irish coffee, which was phenomenal. So then what they did is they basically make an Irish coffee and they make it like a Slurpee, and then they put a shot of Jameson on the top and mix it in, and it's incredible.
Ooh.
It's incredible. I had two of those. They're really good. But then like as a group, we decided that we're going to go to Frenchman Street, which is more like artsy and more driven kind of to our age. And we walked to Frenchman Street. Dude, in 2 days, I walked 19 miles
Oh, wow.
between being on the campus at LSU and being in New Orleans. So we walked to Frenchman Street and just had a cool night there. I sent out a bunch of snaps where there's just like, it's just a little bit different of a vibe. Like you can go into a bar, sit down, listen to some like really cool music. We got to this one bar, which was like towards the end of the night. It felt like you were in somebody's house, and they had like this like little intimate like band playing, and they were playing like really cool music. And there was like maybe 15, 20 people in there and just like enjoying the concert. And it was, you had like, I had an old fashioned, and I just was sitting there listening to the music. That was like the cool part of New Orleans.
The
Like,
live
but
music and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, but like, there's just so many sketchy people out there. I would just say if you have an opportunity to go down to New Orleans, and if you're of our age, if you're in this demographic, stay away from Bourbon Street, man. There's so many people trying to take advantage of you. I know, we had two individuals that were robbed.
What?
Yeah. Two people that were robbed, lost their ID, their money, their bank cards. It's a
Like
sketchy,
pickpocketed, robbed, or like
yeah, just let's
some
just keep
point
it
robbed.
let's just keep it at robbed.
Okay.
But you just don't know who you're dealing with out there. And like we were joking like the entire weekend because like we were in two different sketchy places. It's like, hey, listen, as a kid, you probably remember this being a reference point, but like, hey, like let's use the buddy system. Like as adults, it's the same type of deal, right? Like you just
Yeah.
want to make sure you stick around with somebody. Two is better than one. And you don't ever want to put yourself in a dangerous situation. You're in a different space. Like you don't know New Orleans, you know what I mean? Like you don't know the people there. Just so many different sketchy people that you bump into, and you don't know who you're dealing with. So it's just, that's why I think New Orleans is just a shithole, for the most part. So, I mean, I know it's changed over the years since Katrina hit. I know like a lot of the population left, and it was an unfortunate situation down there when that took place. But man, just a lot of bad taste in my mouth from what happened down there. So
Tailgate plus Louisiana State University, the tailgate and the games A plus, the amenities not so much, and Bourbon Street shithole.
Absolute shithole, dude.
All right, Timmy. Well, it sounds like you had a great trip, and thank you for covering all that stuff. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to that and got some information that they didn't have. Now I want to get into something real quick that I really enjoyed from this past weekend. And this is a clip about our former player, former 76er, Mr. James Harden. And this is a Mavericks announcer talking about James Harden. Timmy, if you haven't heard this, give this a listen, and I want to hear. And if you haven't had the chance to listen to that out there, you're going to really enjoy this. Hold on one second.
The producer to pipe this into the Clippers locker room. If I can talk to you, James, I hope you're taking notes. I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome for the wisdom I'm about to spew. Because listen, I get on my knees every night and pray for someone to believe in me like Daryl Morey believed in you. You wanted a certain coach, they brought in Mike D'Antoni. You want to play a certain style, they played it. You wanted Dwight Howard, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. You wanted Chris Paul, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. They brought in your old friend Russell Westbrook. You want to go to Vegas on off days? They looked away. You wanted the team to stay over so you could go out at night. They changed the schedule, and it didn't work. And you know what? You said, I'm going to break up with my whoopee. Not good enough. I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal, Kevin Durant. It's going to work. The big three. And all after 1 year, you want it out. You realize, oh my gosh, I took this guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? You said, they didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew a 3-2 series lead. So they fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with your guy, believed in you again. You said, the bright lights of L.A., that's where I want to go. Let's see if that works. Listen, James, have you ever had those friends who had bad roommates? Over and over, they complained about their bad roommates. This guy's terrible. The bad roommate here. They never thought to be self-aware enough that they're the bad roommate. They're the problem. Hey, James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
Mic drop. You know what's crazy?
That's
too, Tom?
a kill.
You know what's crazy is that I just found out today that they had that guy. Well, someone removed the clip from the internet. Did you have to download that? Did you record it somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I just had to search it and then I recorded it.
Yeah, because apparently it's been taken down because he absolutely mic dropped James Harden.
That's a kill, dude. Like that, he eviscerated it. Like that was like, whoa. And I love it because we have known, obviously, as Sixers fans, what a freaking it just exposes James Harden and who he really is and what he's been like dealing with, and I loved it. I loved that video. I was like, yes.
Yeah. It's finally like you get, after a breakup, like a team that breaks up like that, like you always want to get the full story, right? And you want people to be on your side. Like you want to hear somebody like Doc Rivers talk shit on James Harden or Ben Simmons, and they don't, right? They keep it pretty PC. And then like, this guy who just went ballistic, like, you know what? Screw this guy. Like, I'm so tired of him taking advantage of the system and making it work in his favor. And obviously it's not going to do anything for him, but it was cool to hear him sound off.
Yeah, it was. And I want to talk about something real quick after that. And kudos to that guy. I got to look up his name, but kudos to him for doing that. I want to talk about the Sixers, if we could. I'm excited about the Sixers again, and I hate that I'm on this path. Here I am. I'm back. I'm excited. Now, they lost last night to Indiana. I think Indiana's a pretty tough team, but I believe we're 8 or 9-2 right now. I think Nick Nurse has done a good job. Big game against the Celtics tonight at home. The big win was we beat the Celtics. I feel like in years past, we lose that game. We find a way to blow it. Seems to me like Maxey has started to really mature and we're seeing some stuff out of him. Joel Embiid is still that MVP type player. Our role players, I feel like Nick Nurse is starting. I'm starting to see that he's getting more out of the players than Doc Rivers was getting. Am I seeing the right things? Are you seeing that?
Look, you have the same similar players. You don't have the same roster as you had last year. But if you look at Embiid and Maxey, look, you took away a cancer, which was James Harden, right? But you're seeing a little bit of some of the things that rubbed off on Maxey from Harden. Like he has that step back three now. He's being more aggressive in terms of his scoring. That's what Harden used to do all the time. He was such a great scorer in his prime. Obviously, I asked him to do a little bit different, a couple different things here as a point guard, but it seems like Embiid's reinvigorated, with the youth here, right? You have Maxey who's taken a step, and that's the big thing. Like Maxey taking that next step to becoming a superstar is what you needed and what you hope for. And it seems like he's really there. I mean, he put up 50 points the other night, which was the first time he's ever done it. Can we expect that type of production all the time? I doubt it, but I mean, if he's giving you 25, 30 points a game, I mean, you're in great shape. You got two guys that are going to be doing that day in and day out, which is fantastic. So I think a lot of it has to do with Nurse. Nurse has got these guys, buying in. Unfortunately, the Kelly Oubre thing took place, and Oubre being hurt, he got hit by a car in Philly. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah,
He's
crazy.
out. He's out for the interim, but I mean, you should get him back. He's a nice piece off the bench. No telling what this team can do, and especially at the trade deadline, you have some ammunition to go out and get somebody if that's what you're going to do. But I mean, it's nice to see this first portion of the schedule. It's nice to see you beat those teams like the Celtics, and if you get them again tonight and you beat them again tonight, they play them two more times away in Boston, but you have a leg up already by beating them twice, and you have the edge in terms of the season series, which could mean a lot for playoff positioning.
Yeah, and it's just something that, to me, I feel like from last year to this year, it was a big win. Now, if we come out and we blow and we do what we did last year, this year, then I'll be like, you know what? But that one was big for me, and just kind of the way they've come out this year. I'm excited about this team and hopeful.
In season.
All right, Timmy. So as we're talking about the Sixers, the in-season tournament is going on. They had a game last night. They lost, putting them to 1-1. What do you think of the in-season tournament, maybe, and particularly that court?
Yeah, so the in-season thing, I still didn't get it until finally like last night. Apparently they're playing. I thought it was just going to be an in-season tournament like for 2 weeks where they just keep on playing each other and then there's a winner declared. So it's obviously games throughout the season that count differently in terms of points, and then there's
so if I could clarify
crown.
that, I've looked it up. I did a lot of research on the in-season tournament. I love the in-season tournament. I think we're going to break that down maybe in another segment. The in-season tournament, all 30 teams have been divided into 6 groups of 5. This is the group play segment. So you play each team from your group, with the number 1 team from each group moving to the knockout stage. There will also be a wild card from the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference moving into that stage, for a total of 8 teams in the knockout stage. The knockout stage is 1-game elimination. You lose and you're out. You move on to the final, which will be December 9th. $16 million on the line to be divided amongst the teams. $500,000 will go to each member of the winning team and the head coach for the championship.
Jesus, did you just black out?
I know.
Oh my God.
Trying to remember all that. And all these games will count as regular season games. So if you make it to the knockout stage of the tournament, and there'll be 8 teams in that, the winners of that will move on and play each other in the semifinals. The losers in that will also play the other teams. Games are on Tuesdays and Friday nights. And the way you can tell it's an in-season playoff game is the court. I love the court. I think it looks cool. But I know a lot of people hate it. I think I'm in the minority for this tournament.
Yeah, because last night that court was brutal. My eyes were killing me watching that, like red and then the blue on top of it. There's some courts that have been kind of cool, but like the all red court for the Sixers last night was an absolute fail, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think the players didn't even know how the in-season tournament worked. I think the Sixers.
Can I say something about that? And I know we're running short on time here, but I think that's an indictment on the players and how spoiled they are that they can't even sell this tournament, that the league that pays them millions of dollars to play, they can't even help promote a new thing that they're trying to do. I think that is an indictment on the players and just them being spoiled, rotten. That's messed up. You work for a company that pays you a boatload of money. A lot of these players, I mean, I think the least paid player on our team makes $2 million. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, hey, guys, we're trying to do something new. You think you could learn the rules? It took me a half an hour of reading the freaking on the internet, Googling it. Yeah. Like, hello, we're trying to do something here.
Yeah, and I know point differential matters too in these wins and losses.
That's the tiebreaker. It's a head-to-head point differential, last season's record. And if you don't have it tied by then, it's a random draw, which is kind of weird.
And then like the Pistons players last Friday were like pissed off at Embiid for like taking a 3 at the end of the game.
And they were wrong.
He's like, it's like, whatever, dude, you idiot.
Well, last night they messed up too. They got the ball with like 1 second left. Shoot a 3. You can make a drain a 3. And like the other team that we were playing, I was like, that's a mistake. Every point counts. I love it. But there's a lot of controversy about that. And unfortunately, we're on a time crunch with this episode because of our responsibilities.
For all your NBA in-season tournament needs, you come into the right spot and see the expert, Tommy Lavelle.
Boom.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought this guy?
I love it. I love the in-season tournament. Just it's different. I'm excited for it. Like I said, in-season tournament games are Tuesdays and Fridays. Once you're through your group, it will go to the Final 8. Final 8 will be single elimination. And hopefully crowning the Sixers as the champion on December 9th. Timmy, anything you want to say to all the Schmidt Lavelleites out there before we sign off?
Go Birds. They had a bye week. Go Sixers. Go Flyers. And what would the world be without Captain James Hook?
There it is. I was waiting on that one. Go Eagles. I was looking at that schedule, Timmy, and maybe we can come back and do like a little short. But did you know when we play the 49ers and we play the Cowboys, it's after they have a Thursday night game, so it's basically a mini bye on both of those games?
A little ridiculous, Tom.
They screwed us a little bit there, and I like this week.
I won't stand for it, Tom. I'm not going to stand for it.
Yeah, I'm going to sit for it, and I'm going to be upset. Either way, I'm not going to leave this episode upset. I'm happy. All right. My name's Tom Lavelle. For Timothy Schmidt, we appreciate you listening. New episodes every Thursday. Be sure to check us out. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Schmidt Lavelle, the greatest podcast in all of podcasts. We love you. Till next week, have a great weekend.
Luck with your kid.
Oh, God. I'm going to need it.
Bye-bye.